Hi you guys, today I'm going to show you how to make my pulled pork sliders on gluten-free Hawaiian rolls. This pulled pork is so easy to make. It's been in my family for over 20 years. It only uses 3 ingredients and it's absolutely phenomenal. On my gluten-free Hawaiian rolls, it is heaven and it's the perfect party food. So let's get into it and I'll show you how to make it. I'm starting by making the dough for the Hawaiian rolls because it will take a while to proof and then sit in the fridge overnight and get nice and chilled. So I'm starting by adding my wet ingredients to my bowl first, and this is just milk, regular old milk, and 2 eggs. And if you want to do dairy-free, look on the website and you'll find all that information. And then we're going to also add to it yeast, baking powder, psyllium husks, and this is an optional ingredient, something that I recently found. It's a gluten-free dough conditioner, and it helps keep the dough soft or the roll soft for days. And then of course I added sugar in there because these are sweet buns, so you need that sugar. And the sugar also acts not only as a sweetener, but also to make the dough nice and supple and soft. So I just mixed that together briefly, and now I'm going to add in my flour, which is my Kim's gluten-free bread flour blend. There really is not a substitute for that. However, there are substitutions within the flour blend itself, which are all listed on my website. And now I'm adding softened butter, and this is very soft butter. I would not recommend this if it's not soft. What I would do is actually melt it and it will work the same in the recipe. But this is super soft. It's pretty hot right now, so the softer the better, or melted. Otherwise, it is not going to blend in well. So just like with all my other recipes, or most of my other bread recipes, we're going to let this go for 5 minutes. And I'm actually going to set a timer. That's what I do all the time. And I just walk away. So this really is like a 5-minute, mixing time, and then you're done. And with the magic of video editing, it's done. It's been 5 minutes. So now we can scrape it down the sides of the bowl or transfer it to another bowl if you don't have several KitchenAid bowls like I do. And we're going to cover this and let it proof for about 2 hours or until nice and risen, and then put it in the fridge overnight. So now it's been overnight. This is the next day. And before I pull my dough out, I'm going to go ahead and get my pork going. And to this pork butt or pork shoulder, that's another name for it, I am adding apple cider, not apple cider vinegar. It has to be apple cider. And I'm also adding a little bit of liquid smoke. And also this is Hawaiian pink salt. This is not in the original recipe, but I really like Hawaiian pink salt, so that's what I'm using. And it definitely needs that salt. Now this is not a pork like picnic, I think it's called. It doesn't have the skin on. That layer on top is fat, which we will defat after it's done cooking. So I'm setting the pressure cooker to pressure cook on high for 1 hour. Of note, however, this is a 5-pounder, and I actually cut it in half. This was a really large pork butt, and the other half had the bone in, and that bone in piece took roughly about 2 hours. So just note that, and if yours has a bone in, it's probably going to take longer in the Instant Pot. So here's our dough. It's risen well and it's nice and chilled in the fridge overnight. By the way, if your dough does not look at all like this, somewhere, somehow you did something wrong. I have made this dough over probably 200 times and it always looks like this. So somewhere you did something wrong. So I would go back and check. 9 times out of 10, it's like a substitution within the flour blend itself or in the recipe, but my guess is the flour blend, because people put whatever they seem to want to put in that flour blend, and I'm just here to tell you that it will work just like this if you use the right ingredients. So I'm getting only half of the dough out because, like true Kim fashion, I only like to use half the dough at a time. And if I were to be having a larger party, I would go ahead and make the full amount, but I'm only doing this for the sake of the video, actually, and for us to have for dinner. So we don't need tons of rolls. So I'm going to put the rest of the dough aside in the fridge and use it for another application. There are many, many applications on my website for using this dough. So now I'm going to portion out the dough into roughly 2-ounce pieces. I'm actually going to weigh them. They don't have to be quite exact. You know, if you get like within 5/10 of an ounce, it's fine. They also are good at like 1.5 ounces. I wouldn't go bigger than that for Hawaiian buns, but if you wanted to make them into hamburger buns or whatever, I actually have a video for hamburger buns and hot dog buns using this very same recipe, and I'll put a link for that above. So to shape the rolls, just take it and flatten it out slightly on a well-floured surface and fold in the edges until it's nice and round. And then take it on the non-floured surface and roll it around in your backwards C-cupped hand. And here it is, a little closer side view so you can see my patriotic nails and all. It's just that simple. And you'll have a nice, perfect roll. And as you can see, to get it off, if it's stuck to the counter, just use your bench scraper. So we're going to cover these and we're going to let them proof until doubled in size. And in the meantime, I've got my pork out. It is ready. It is steaming hot. And I had to use 2 utensils to get it out because it was falling apart. And it is so tender. That pink is just the normal color of it. It is not undercooked at all, as you can see. And I'm just taking 2 forks to shred it up and removing any fat that is in it. There is a lot of fat, so I will be removing a lot of fat and just set it to the side. We don't need it. That will go in the trash. And I'd like to serve this just as is and let people put barbecue sauce on as they like and coleslaw and all that stuff, because this is actually really delicious on its own. Like it doesn't need any other flavors added to it, but I do like to put my barbecue sauce on it when I'm serving it because that is just out of this world good as well. So now that I've got it all shredded, I'm just putting it back in the Instant Pot in the juices that it cooked in, and that's where it will stay until I'm ready to serve. So our rolls are nicely risen, and I'm going to brush them with some melted butter very, very gently because they are filled with air right now. So just be gentle about it. And we'll get this in a 350F oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. And when they come out, they should look like this. And they are nice and soft. You can feel them just to feel the give, where they're not giving too much and they're too underdone on the inside. And then we take the rest of that melted butter and brush it over the top of these nice hot rolls. And we are ready to serve it up. I like to really pile the pork on high, if you can, if it doesn't keep falling off, but it is so tender, just fall apart, deliciousness. It's one of my favorite things. I absolutely love it. And this is my homemade barbecue sauce. It's called Dee's barbecue sauce because somebody I used to know from years ago gave it to me and her name was Dee. And we just top it. You can add coleslaw if you want. I'm a purist when it comes to this. I do not like coleslaw. My husband loves coleslaw on his, so I always have some for him. But I'm going in just simple as this. And it's really all I need. So I hope you get a chance to make it, and I hope you enjoy it.